Hello and welcome back. This is episode 1 on what does increasing global fiscal supply mean and why should you care? Also, I would like to get data. If anybody has research to share, I'm very open for you to share resources, for me to access more information to analyze, because I love data analytics. Now, we can all agree that the main problems in the world on a human level have to do with finance and health. It could be mental health, it could be physical health. There are a few concepts on that. I mean, maybe also global warming and food security around the world could be put into that picture. But let's just stick to those two topics today. Health is wealth, right? So let's say fact check me if you may, like this is just the information I found. And I'm very happy to get extra data from you. I will reiterate that. So increasing the global fiscal supply from 96 billion to a higher figure for the population of 8 billion people is the concern or topic of conversation for today. So let's say in my research, there's 96 billion in global fiscal supply for the population currently moving around. So let's say there's a certain amount of money that is printed. So we're using this as a theory. The numbers could be fact checked. So let's say, for example, there are different socio-economic levels. So we have low income, we have low middle income, upper middle income, and high income populations. Now, this is for population spending. I'm not sure the metrics on the governments and global financial supply, fiscal supply in terms of how much money is actually printed and circulating in the world. That was my question that I wanted answered. So I'm on ChatGPT, and this is the information that comes up, and it does say double check. So you can double check that for me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so what does it mean? If we were to increase the global fiscal supply, we would have to inject more money into the economy through government spending, central banks, or universal income type initiatives. These are what have currently been conversed about in terms of how they would integrate these concepts on a higher level throughout society. So it could be literal printing of money or digital money expansion. The goal may be to stimulate economies, reduce inequality, or support social safety nets. Now, the pros and cons by socioeconomic level to this, and I feel like that's where this conversation is important to be discussed. So the benefits for low-income groups would be that they have improved basic needs, food, clean water, shelter, and healthcare. These are basic needs that you can see from around the world. A lot of humans have not even been able to have that level of human existence. So I feel like that's the first problem. There will be a reduction in crime and social unrest. Again, the crime issue in the world is a problem. It's a pretty big problem, and so far it's been unsolvable, probably due to this issue, right? And therefore, on that level, there are people who make decisions based on levels of desperation. And therefore, if that level is solved, those desperation-driven acts may decline. And most likely, probably, they would decline because humanity stoops to the lowest level of trying to get access to money when they are in these really uncomfortable conditions. And so eliminating that from the human existence so that humans don't have to act from those levels of desperation would significantly improve the crime and human behavior. Boosted economic participation. So there could be new consumers stimulating demand. I think it was Mary Folio who said, for those who are not sharing their gift with the world, don't quote me on exactly the words, but it was something like this. you're basically starving someone of the help that they need by you not showing up with your gifts and creativity. And you never know what you have to make that someone is looking for in that context. So the problem with this is that inflation hits hardest on this level. So if the prices rise, the gains could be erased quickly. Cash without infrastructure is a waste. Money won't help much if the health systems or food supply are broken. So you can see on a fundamental level how this can flow and trickle around. Dependency risk. Without education and empowerment, cash injections may create short-term relief but long-term reliance. The dependency risk and the education empowerment, what I would expand on this is financial values. So if you don't have education with finance and finance spending, excuse me, I've just sneezed. Oh my God, I sneezed into the mic. Sorry, I can't cut that out. Bless me. Right, without the right education, you might see that on the lowest income group level, the spending is going to be very frivolous and probably not go in the right ways to benefit society. It might even be making it worse. I mean, I've seen on these levels of low education, people end up littering more, and they need education to even know how to spend money. So that's a discussion for itself, and that's the challenge or problem that I've seen with that increase on that level, that there needs to be some sort of route or process of getting there. Like, you need a bank account, you need to have the right documents in order, you need to have a basic education of finance, how to spend money, financial values, what you really want, and how your dollar impacts the world economy. I feel like that's an important lesson for anyone who is going to be getting more money, because while females have a certain value of what they spend money on, men have a certain value, internal values of what they spend money on. So in essence, they may not see eye to eye of what they think is a good way of spending versus what this next party thinks is a good way of spending. So therefore, it opens up the discussion forum to think, well, we have different values when it comes to money, and I've interviewed many people on these topics from different socioeconomic backgrounds. When it comes to the lower middle income, like factory workers, small farmers, low-skilled service workers, the benefits of this injection of fiscal supply, whether that is in the creation of a new currency, whether that is in a creation of, well, we don't want to inject more money because that will devalue the dollars. I don't see that as a good idea at all. So we'll need better solutions, which I do have and I can share. It is an out-of-the-box way of thinking, but by the time we get to that, it might be like the 4th episode. So stick around. Okay, so the problems, the benefits of this are that we have more mobility, so they can invest in their education, better tools, move or live in better areas. Again, crime and safety is a fundamental issue here, because if you don't feel safe in your own house, you're living in a physical paranoia state, and you don't even feel safe to like step out the house and go to work or get jobs or do things. It's a safety issue, should be like a priority in terms of addressing that. Debt relief, you may pay off your small loans faster, so you avoid predatory lenders. And that's scary. Like, if you have a predatory lender and they're constantly on your back, causing emotional strife and stressing you out, it takes away from your ability to think outside the box and create ways to even make more money. Business ignition, micro-entrepreneurship might rise. Now, problems, asset bubbles. Increasing buying power might inflate local housing, land, or fuel prices. So these are the sectors in which we need to discuss. For example, there's only a certain amount of land on the planet. So with more people wanting to buy land, we need to know how, in advance, how these assets are allocated before even moving any increase in finance. Corruption leakages in regions with weak governance, funds may be siphoned. And uneven inflation exposure, if spending increases too quickly, their money might lose value before they benefit, right? So next we will go into the upper middle income and we will continue this chat.